Okay, so I felt to share the lesson 109, I rest in God. Um, and yeah, I feel this lesson, it just goes so deep. Um, so I want to share it more as a meditation as well. So let's see if we can really get an experience, or I want to invite us to get an experience of what this lesson is saying. And then we can feel like, what does that mean to actually rest in God? And can we always do that? Can we always rest in God? So the lesson starts by saying, we ask for rest today and quietness and unshaken by the world's appearances. We ask for peace and stillness in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. We ask for safety and for happiness, although we seem to look on danger and on sorrow. And we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request. I rest in God. This thought will bring to you the rest and quiet, peace and stillness, and the safety and the happiness you seek. I rest in God. This thought has power to wake the sleeping truth in you, whose vision sees beyond appearances, to that same truth in everyone and everything there is. Here is the end of suffering for all the world, and everyone who ever came and yet will come to linger for a while. Here is the thought in which the Son of God is born again to recognize himself. I rest in God. Completely undismayed, this thought will carry you through storms and strife, past misery and pain, past loss and death, and onward to the certainty of God. There is no suffering that it cannot heal. There is no problem that it cannot solve. And no appearances but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. This is the day of peace. You rest in God. And while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. Yours is the rest of truth. Appearances cannot intrude on you. You call to all to join you in your rest. And they will hear and come to you because you rest in God. They will not hear another voice than yours because you gave your voice to God. And now you rest in Him and let Him speak through you. In Him, you have no cares and no concerns, no burdens, no anxiety, no pain, no fear of future, and no past regrets. In timelessness, you rest while time goes by without its touch upon you, for your rest can never change in any way at all. You rest today. And as you close your eyes, sink into stillness. Let these periods of rest and respite reassure your mind that all its frantic fantasies were but the dreams of fever that has passed away. Let it be still and thankfully accept its healing. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams and into peace. Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad. A bird with broken wings begins to sing. A stream long dry begins to flow again. The world is born again each time you rest, and hourly remember that you came to bring the peace of God into the world, that it might take its rest along with you. With each 5 minutes that you rest today, the world is nearer waking. And the time when rest will be the only thing there is comes closer to all worn and tired minds, too weary now to go their way alone. And they will hear the bird begin to sing and see the stream begin to flow again, with hope reborn and energy restored to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go. You rest within the peace of God today and call upon your brothers from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. You will be faithful to your trust today, forgetting no one and bringing everyone into the boundless circle of your peace, the holy sanctuary where you rest. Open the temple doors and let them come from far across the world and near as well. Your distant brothers and your closest friends, bid them all enter here and rest with you. You rest within the peace of God today, quiet and unafraid. Each brother comes to take his rest and offer it to you. We rest together here, for thus our rest is made complete. And what we give today, we have received already. time is not the guardian of what we give today. We give to those unborn and those passed by, to every thought of God, and to the mind in which these thoughts were born and where they rest. And we remind them of their resting place each time we tell ourselves, I rest in God. I rest in God today. Let Him work in me. I rest in God today. And let Him work through me. I rest in God today, in quiet and in perfect certainty. I rest in God today. This is the day of peace. I rest in God today. 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 Carry me through storm and strife. I rest in God today. This is the day of peace. I rest in God today. And while I rest in Him, I rest in God today. Away from dreams and into peace, I rest in God today. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. Beautiful. Maybe you'd like to join me in singing this for ourselves and for everyone else. If you still have some forgiveness opportunities with the word God, feel free to also swap it for love. I rest in love. Whatever feels good for you. And as we sing that, see if you can just hand over whatever things are popping up in your mind where you feel that there is still this striving and this worrying and this doing ourselves. make things happen, trying to take the responsibility. And yeah, feel free to sing it on whatever tone feels comfortable for you. Maybe you like to harmonize with my voice, or maybe you like to do the same. Maybe you like to go lower, or maybe you like to just do this in silence, which is fine as well. I rest in God. 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 Yeah. Really see if you can allow this to enter in your mind, the fact that you really can rest. How the ego wants you to strive and be the doer, take responsibility and figure everything out. And here is this wonderful invite from the Spirit of just rest in me. Everything will be taken care of through you. So let's hand it all over, all of our relationships, all of our projects, everything that is on our mind, our own body as well, our own health. Every other body that is present in our life, every other person, whatever it is. Let's see if we can rest in all of that and come from this quietness, this peace, where everything will just fall into place exactly how it needs to be. So maybe you can even imagine yourself really just being supported by the Spirit. Maybe you see all of these angels just holding you, and no, this is not like some sort of fantasy. It's not a fantasy that we are guided and supported by all of these angels, by the Spirit. This is not a fantasy, not something to just make you feel better. This is actually true. Spirit, Jesus, these angels, they really are with us all the time, guiding us back home. In the Course, even Jesus says, you can imagine yourself holding my hand and know that this is not some idle fantasy. And that God's angels hover near and all about. Maybe we can't always see them. We might not always feel them, but they're here. They're here for us. So maybe we can open ourselves up to that now and just realize that we truly aren't alone. We aren't walking back home alone. Even though in truth, we know we're already home, but in this dream, it seems as if we still need to take that journey. And on that journey, we are so guided. We are so provided for. And the ego will always try to tell us different. But let's see if we can reconnect and realign our minds again with the truth that we are so supported. We are so guided. We are so loved every step of the way, that we will be told exactly what we need to do. And that we can truly rest in everything we're doing. So see what symbol is helpful for you. Maybe you really like to see these angels just holding you or supporting you from behind, supporting your back. I also always love to see like a beautiful altar in front of me where I just lay down everything that I'm still worried about or that I think I have to do by myself, or things that I'm afraid of like making the wrong choices, or fear of future outcomes, or regret of past decisions, like any of those fearful stuff. And we can just put it on the altar. Maybe on one of those big sighs. And just come back to that intention of, okay, above all else, I want to rest in God. I want to experience that. I want to feel how that is to just hear one voice. Only hear the voice of the Spirit, to feel a certainty in my heart. And yeah, that's where I want to use my life for, my relationships for. So let's sing it a few more times. I rest in God. Just place your hand on your heart. See if you can feel those words in your heart. Let them resonate in your heart. I rest in God. I rest in God. Whisper it inside of your heart. Let it reawaken what was asleep, what was forgetful. Let it remember the truth. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God.
I rest in God. I rest in God today. I rest in God today and let Him work in me. I rest in God today